Ba-bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Never let it be said that we don't give away a lot of stuff, Jared. A lot of content, as they would say in your worlds. People that know about computers and social media, isn't it? Content.
I'd love to put a monetary value on it, Tom, just so we could say that we've handed out so much content during the year. But I figure it'd be like the guards after a drug raid. You know what I mean? They get a fucking a little bag of hash and be like, "We've seized 500 grand's worth of drugs tonight with a street value of 500 grand." It's like, really? Are you sure you're not just making that up to make your accomplishments seem better? You know. But absolutely, we're giving it away. And this week on our bonus worst gig ever episode, Tom, which I got to tell you is, I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry, Tom. Going from strength to strength. I'm having a great time. And I was the one, Tom. I was the holdout for so many years saying that there would never be another non-Tom or Jerry voice on the Tom and Jerry show. And here we are. What do you know? Once again in his life, McBride, proven wrong about everything.
Just backtracking. That's what you're doing. Backtracking from day to day. And I'm okay with that, Jerry, because it's all panning out very well. We're getting one absolute banger of a guest after another. And I think even the guests we have, I tell you now, we have a couple lined up. I haven't actually got to tell you. I have a couple of people who knocked on our door of TNG Towers going, lads, let us on to tell you about our worst gig ever. A couple of right juicy guests are coming down the pipe.
Well, they are welcome to audition, Tom. But hey, enough bollocksology. Let's introduce this week's guest. She very kindly donated her time. You know her from the radio on Today FM. She's on maternity leave at the moment, but she'll be back, which is after the summer. We sat down with the wonderful Paula MacSweeney, and she gave us an example of why you should never open your mouth in public again, Tom. Really, should be known.
Almost all of these, I can feel it right in my chest, and it hurts.
Right in the bones.
It
Absolutely.
hurts. So everybody.
Yeah, having built it up enough, let's... Paula, take it away. Paula, I will always remember that you had on your Twitter reminiscences of the day where you tussled above all people's hair John Bon Jovi. I can see how that would stay with someone for some time. But I can't imagine that all your gigs were as memorable as that for the right reasons. Am I right?
No, and that actually had the potential to be absolutely appalling. Like, I remember, like, there was loads of journalists. It was my first ever showbiz gig. It was the first person I ever interviewed, and it happened to be John Bon Jovi. And I remember thinking, all of these people have gone ahead of me. He's answered the same question time and time again. And I went in, and the first thing I thought was, his hair is magnificent.
It is magnificent.
And I'm going to have to draw attention to this.
Yeah.
And that's, it just kind of, I wanted to separate myself, but also I was absolutely enthralled by his hair. So it just kind of worked like that. But it could have gone awfully. He could have said, security, go away. Ew. It's a very kind of, you can't be touching people. People don't like that.
I tried a similar thing with mattress make. I got 6 months suspended sentence. So
I wonder, Tom, does John Bon Jovi realize the impact he had in the Silicon community in Ireland in the early 90s?
As always,
like we say, Paula, they can't all be good gigs like that. So, what do you think? Is there any horror shows to take the Bon Jovi edge off that?
Yeah, I think about back in 2017, I was at home and I got this message from the Galway International Arts Festival saying, would you like to come along and speak about how you met your husband on Tinder? Now, I had done this to death. I was always being asked. I still am being asked. And I kind of say to people, look, I've done it to death. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, we're, married with 2 kids now. It's done. Find someone else who's dating online. But back then I was like, yeah, oh my God. And they said, look, we won't be able to pay you much, but we will cover expenses and we'll put you up in a hotel in Galway City. And I was thinking, July, Galway City, Saturday night, hotel, like, who's getting a better deal here? Obviously me. This is amazing. Like, I was so flattered and I was delighted. So the deal was I'd go up on the Saturday, I'd stay in the hotel, and on the Sunday I'd go over to NUIG and I take part in a panel discussion. And I took it really seriously. I had a speech written just in case, about how I met my husband and all that. And we had a brilliant night on the Saturday night, had partied our tails off in Galway. And then on the Sunday, I was a little bit kind of shaky, but I was okay. I was
dusty,
fine.
yeah. And
I have gotten through worse than this. So I went to NUIG anyway, and there was a panel there, and they were really, really, I won't say serious, but they were really educated. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I've been getting away with this for so long. Today's the day. And one in particular, an academic who he based his entire research on, how people meet and how they interact and this online phenomenon. And I remember thinking he was so personable and so likable. I just really wanted him to like me, and I really wanted to be cool. And
you wanted him to swipe left on you, essentially, is what you want. Yeah, right.
As far as friends, I wanted to be his friend. So I remember he got his chance to talk, and then they asked me a question. I remember thinking, now's your time. Show him how great you can. Show him how smart you are, but also personable. So I started talking, and I kept saying, by the way, I should mention, earlier on in the week, I'd been for an eye test, and they had told me that in my left eye, it's behind the eye is shaped like a rugby ball, so I have astigmatism. So I was like, okay, news to me, but I just get new glasses, grand. So I kept talking about, back when I joined Tinder, how there was this stigmatism involved, and I kept saying the word stigmatism, and there were 300 people in the audience who kept staring at me with these big saucer eyes. I remember thinking, what is he looking at?
Oh no!
I am being so unbelievably smart right now. And the first time I said it, something in my head went, I don't know if that's no, just keep going. The second time I said it, something went, and I saw my husband. He was like, there was an awful stigmatism around meeting people online. The third time I said it, your man who I was trying to press was visibly I just kept going. And I remember ringing my sister afterwards, and I said, would it be terrible if I mixed up those two words? And she went, yeah. And I told her what happened. And she's the one who would always tell you, it'll be grand, don't worry, nobody noticed. And even she went, I think we need to write this one off. You can't get over that. And it was live, and there was 300 people looking at me, and 3 times I said the word stigmatism instead of a stigma. And I actually emailed that guy afterwards, because he was this really cool, I just can't explain. Some people just have that thing, and they're like, I just really like that person. Yeah, exactly.
We don't, Ger, we don't. I know, tell the truth. That's a stigmatism, if ever I heard it. That's we don't have coolness at all. But I know I'm very envious of cool people.
He was so smart and cool. You don't normally get the two together, and when you do, you're like, wow. And I emailed him afterwards, because he was very enthralling. He's written books, I've read his books, all that kind of stuff. He's just really cool. And I emailed him, and I tried to kind of, wasn't that really funny? And he was like, yeah. No. It just, every time I think about it now, I'm even getting hot thinking about it now. It was just, it wasn't comedians who get up and die in their arse. And I've been at gigs like that where you're looking at people going, oh no, I feel so bad for you, because I find it funny, but if I laugh, everyone else is going to think I'm a joke, so I'm just going to say nothing. And just honestly, it was just, it kills me when I think of it, even now, honestly.
Because what's almost violently nail-biting about your one is that you ploughed on kind of you were like, okay, maybe it's all right, and you just drove on.
And do you know what that is? That's radio. They tell you, when you spot something, don't apologize for it. Obviously don't say anything, inflammatory or derogatory. But if you spot something that you did wrong, don't draw attention to it, because people have already forgotten. You don't rewind radio. You don't go back, and you just keep going, and that's fine. And that was me doing that. And that was an instance where I probably should have taken a breath and said, I made light of it and said, I think I got this mixed up. Can someone help? But I kept going. I just kept going. And it was, the cringe factor. And it's funny, because when Jerry said, we're doing this thing where you talk about your worst gig ever, my immediate response in my head was Madonna 2012, the Aviva. She put her pants down and got her bum out. That actually happened. I was there. It was horrendous. And then I went, still not as bad as when you said astigmatism instead of a stigma 3 times in NUI Galway.
I've had sleepless nights over one particular mate of mine. I completely pronounced his girlfriend, now wife. I pronounced her name incorrectly at least 17 times throughout an evening, and she never corrected me. But I could, now thinking back retrospectively, she did get a flicker in her eye, probably astigmatism, but she got a flicker in her eye every time. I won't say her name just in case, but it was, and I totally banjaxed it. But I thought I was being really, because I thought it was South African or something. It wasn't. It was like a weird version of a Welsh accent that our parents made up. It was just, still to this day,
I don't think you need to name her, Tom. I think you've narrowed her down enough there.
Yeah, there's a fairly niche kind of,
Oh my God, Paula, that is
It's
That
the
was
worst.
the
And like,
absolute.
but it's like, on radio, like you do, obviously, because it's live and it's every day. And, you always come off air and say, should I have said that? Or, and I've had times where I felt a bit, I probably should, that was a bit mean, it just things like that. But that day in NUI Galway, and the fear God after having a night in the town like we had just didn't help. I shook the whole way home. I was like, I can't believe that happened. I need to leave my job. I need to find a new job. I need to it was so horrendous and it was so embarrassing and it was so simple. It was like that time as well. And I'm only lucky my family weren't in the audience because that would have ruined me. They would have gone to town on me. I went for dinner before with my sister and we were after doing a charity run and she lives in Mayo. And we all went for dinner later on that evening and, all in good spirits. And I went, I shall have the minute steak, please. And everyone laughed. And I went, what? And apparently it's a minute steak. And to this day, they have never let me forget it. Like, you big dope.
Tiny steak you have, please. A minute one.
A minute steak. And I'm one of 8 children. Like, you just don't get away with stuff like that,
8 children, that's a war zone. Yeah,
it is.
You're not getting away with that. Well,
my
I want to know
referees.
I'm just here and don't let Paula anywhere near the West Coast.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Stop it
Bad
at loan.
things happen.
No going beyond that loan.
Yeah.
What did you think the talk was going to be like? Did you think it was going to be a bit of crack prior to going up to it?
I did, and I knew there'd be an audience. I'm like, because in radio you don't have an audience, so I'd get a bit of stage fright. Like, I'm not used to having people looking at me, so I prepared myself for that. And because online dating for me had always been a bit of a crack topic. You kind of talk about it as a bit of fun and happened to work out for me, but there's a million stories I could tell you that where it didn't work out. So I kind of expected that, but when I arrived there, I realized that this wasn't just this was serious. Like, people got tickets. People booked tickets. Like, no pressure, and there was a lot of eyes looking at me. And I remember thinking, I got this. I'm so smart at my stigmatism. Oh,
who followed you?
Me.
What followed you? Like, did somebody get up and go, I'll take it from here, Paula.
No, it was more
thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. It's Paula. No, never mind. It's fine.
Do you know what it was? Oh my God, I just remembered this. It was, don't make unnecessary journeys. Don't take me. She got up next. And she was talking about something else online. And, everybody knows her as Don't Make Unnecessary Journeys and obviously a reporter. And she's lovely. But I remember thinking, there was kind of a sense of relief in the crowd when she took over and started to speak, because it meant that they'd all understand what she was saying because she's educated. That's gas. I forgot she was there. Oh,
that reminds me of one time I was at this sort of Whispers event. I think it was a book launch or some such, and we were taking questions from the crowd. And I was like, "Yeah, come on, ask me anything." And somebody just said, "Ask a question along the lines of, yes, what have the satirical writings of Jonathan Swift? What influences have they had on your work?" And I'm like, "Fucking slim to none, pal." I'm going to say the impact of that has been minimal, because I'm not worried you're making local man jokes. Little to none. I just felt the dumbest man in the room.
Yeah, but to be fair, he sounded more stupid asking you something like that. Like, I mean, really?
I think he was well within his rights.
But did he ask you that to make you feel bad? Like, that's
it was probably the Dalkey. Was it the Dalkey Book Festival or someplace where somebody would ask something like that? I can guarantee it didn't happen. It didn't happen in Nice. I can tell you that much.
Not my people, Tom. Know your people is what we're learning here.
Read the room.
And Theresa Mannion followed you for a minute there. I thought you were going to say that it was some devout Padraig Pio follower who was going to talk about being a stigmatic.
No.
That's all I can think with stigmatic. And a big hand for Paula. No, Jesus, no, don't say a big hand.
Oh, this is killing me. But like, you guys, like, you must, like, okay, that was one incident and in one talk, and it wasn't, me setting out somewhere and people coming to see me specifically. But like, the amount of times, like, I've been to gigs before, and there's one comedian in particular I love. She's brilliant. And it was years ago, and I went to see her in the International. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, on that night, nobody was kind of gelling with her. And, it's no different from any of her other gigs that I had been to. And even afterwards, I tweeted her because I was a big fan. I was a fangirl in her. I tweeted her going, "Oh, don't worry, I still found it funny." And she went, "You're about the only one." And I was going, "Oh no!" Like, it was one of those times when nobody was laughing, and I honestly placed the blame on the crowd. It wasn't her. She could have gone there in a different night and done the exact same thing, and everyone would have been roaring. That's hard. Like, that's really hard.
Well, over the course of this segment of the podcast over the years, me and Tom have gone through every single reason for a worst gig ever, and rarely have either of us turned around and said, maybe we weren't funny. Hasn't come up. You know?
We searched, Paula, but
yeah,
there's no answer.
But I got upstaged by a 6-year-old with a banjo after he followed me on stage. It was like, I know typically when comedy goes wrong is, or when an environment, because you are a radio personality and they dropped you in a tent with a hangover to speak to science people. That's not where. So, and normally comedy goes wrong when it's on in a place where comedy should not live, i.e. going on middle of the show at the ICA down in Cork when they brought me on to the Irish Countrymen's Association of Ireland. In between a father and daughter playing the spoons, this guy, me coming up to tell dick jokes for 10 minutes, and then a family of banjo players to close the show. And a 6-year-old pretty much took the mic out of my hand softly and just went, "Thanks very much, Tom. Good luck." Thanks. So, and I had no mentions of stigmatism. I didn't know should I take my trousers off for these women or what. So that's normally
you were ripped off.
There you go. So people say, I mean, Paul, what you've had there is just like the exact same thing we have. Like, we talk a good game, but like it stays with us all the goddamn time with the horror gigs that we've had. I've always explained it to people like when you get up on and you do a gig and you die on your hole, like for 20 minutes straight, first joke doesn't land and you've got 20 minutes more of this shit. It's like, you know the feeling you get if you're walking down the street and someone sees you and waves at you, and you go, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" But in actual fact, we're waving at someone behind you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that feeling repeatedly for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know how you
That's
do it.
just how it feels. It's just...
we're dead inside, Paula. We're dead. We're just husks of humans. That's all
But
it
the
is.
high of people laughing at your jokes must totally be worth it, because you couldn't pay me to do what you guys do. You couldn't pay me. Obviously, you really couldn't pay me. Nobody would pay me. Yeah. But like, even if I was really funny and I could do a stage show, I couldn't do what you guys do. I actually would die. I would die.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
The only thing that does carry you through from one hell to the other is knowing that they should laugh at this one, shouldn't they? You know what I mean? Like this. It's
anytime Paula, someone says to us, I couldn't do what you do, Tom. I don't know about you. Hard to know whether to take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I couldn't do that shit. Oh no! Keep it up, Tonto. You're doing great.
You mean you couldn't do it, or you wouldn't be caught doing it? Is it like a?
It can happen. It can happen to the worst of us. But that was.
Yeah,
and I mean, when you were leading me in there, I thought something physical is going to happen to Paula here. Like, literally, her glass eye is going to fall out, or her trousers falls out. Something, because a midday after a sesh weekend in Galway, I've done gigs in the middle of the day, and everybody's blasted.
That's easy money.
It's easy money.
Yeah.
You're all in it together. You're all dying, and it's pure cuddly and good crack. And then you just turn the corner of it, and that's obviously what you had in your head. And you went in, and all of a sudden, Professor Stephen Hawkins and Tony Robbins are up there giving awards out to people.
It was horrific. Oh.
Well, Paula, that has been an absolute joy. It's made my skin crawl. And
very much, Paula.
Thanks
You're
for
back
having me.
You're back on the air shortly, aren't you?
Yeah, end of the summer I'll be back in Today FM bright and early, and saying
Excellent.
things like, "I have astigmatism." No, I actually do have astigmatism, but it's nothing to do with online dating and the shame that surrounds it. Just FYI.
And we can
Wonderful
confirm
stuff.
here visually, as you'll hear this as audio listeners, that Paula's hands are in perfect working order. There are no holes anywhere on them, so there's no stigmata either. So just not to confuse one with the other.
I'll never forget it.
Brilliant stuff. All right, thanks a million, Paula. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Paula.
Paula MacSweeney there, an absolute champion, Tom.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I love somebody who can tell a good story. She could see the two of us were hanging on her every word. We're like, oh, she knows us, because we've all walked into that scenario. We're going, I should not be here. Even
not my place, not my people.
Not my circus, not my monkey. I'm sorry, I should not be in there. And I think we all just learned something. At least there is a word, stigmatism. If you accidentally do say it, you're talking about something at the back of your eye. Not too unlike Jerry's gammy eye at the time he was talking about the teabags incident. I'm just saying. Possibly, I don't know. Again, I know.
Curious about what Tom's talking about? Check it out in the archives of the Tom and Jerry Show.
I just assumed they all love me, Jerry. They love us. Paula was an absolute brilliant guest. Love that story. Brilliant.
A wonderful guest. And speaking of the archives, Tom, anybody that's listening to this that hasn't listened to every episode of the Tom and Jerry Show thus far, by all means dig into the archives. There's a whole pile of content to keep you going until we are back with season 6, which is not going to be on Monday, unfortunately. We wrapped up season 5 there on Monday gone by. Season 6 will be along with you shortly. But it's not all bad news, Tom.
It's not, because we are keeping the bonus episodes coming, because we know we have them on a hook, Jerry. We've got to keep drip feeding just that little bit, because we don't want them to wither away and die. So in between season 5 ending, which ended last Monday, with episode 8, which is unprecedented, you're getting 2 extra episodes there that you have never gotten in the season before. We are
getting that in season 6.
Confirming that right here, right now. Are we confirming that your season 6 is going to go ahead if neither one of us, fall down with something? Yeah,
absolutely.
He's saying that.
He's good.
He's saying that like a fellow who's going to promise you a loan of his car that isn't going to give you a loan of his car. Look, I'm telling you.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We will be back. But in between them, we're not going to let you down. We're not going to let you dry up and wither on the vine. We will be producing bonus episodes on the week.
Every Thursday.
Next Thursday will be no different. Back with another special guest. They're right there.
As a man with supposedly fine hair said in a story there I've recently heard, whoa, we're only halfway there.
Steel horse I ride. Jerry, let's head off.
Yeah, go on. Good luck.